Yes, the breaking story comes from the Premier League, and Arsenal have an agreement in principle with Bologna for the signing of Riccardo Calafiori. Now, the player still has to take a medical before officially signing a long-term contract. This deal worth in the region of 50 million euros, so just under 42 million pounds. It would be their second summer signing after making David Raya's place at the club permanent, having been on loan last season. Joining up with the squad at some point on the pre-season tour of the United States hasn't been ruled out. But just to confirm, Arsenal have an agreement in principle with Bologna for the signing of Riccardo Calafiori, the deal worth in the region of around £42 million.
Obviously, Trent Alexander-Arnold isn't here. We all know he's entering the final year of his contract. How confident are you that a new one can be agreed and he'll be a Liverpool player for longer than just a year?
My answer would probably be a bit boring, and I think it's the same answer you've heard in the last 5, 6 or 7 years, that contract situation are not discussed at this place. So, but just keep trying, I would say.
Always will. I always will. Thank you.
You're welcome.
John?
You mentioned in your first press conference that you were hired partly because you've got a similar style to how the teams play, but obviously there will be some differences. So in terms of the players that you do have with you now, how pleased are you with how they're adapting to what you're asking of them, and how valuable has it been the time that you've had to get those messages across?
Like you said, many things will stay the same when it comes to playing style, but of course there will be a few adjustments, because otherwise every manager has also his own ideas. But general playing style would probably look quite familiar for you guys, and I think every player, especially if they have had a few weeks off, they need to adapt playing with the ball again. So taking that into account, I think we have made some steps compared to where we started, but that has maybe not so much to do with implementing new ideas, but it also has to do with players getting used to playing with the ball again. So, but I'm very happy, like I said before, with the energy the team is giving every single day, and which is normal in pre-season, because everywhere around the world you hear the same things. Players work really hard, but that's also with us. So till now I've been happy with the way they did. And looking forward to the game tomorrow to see if we can bring some positives to the game as well.
Has anyone surprised you so far? I mean, I'm sure you did your research, but is there one or two you really forward? Didn't know you were doing exactly.
I don't think anyone that is established player surprised me, because if you go to one of the best clubs in the world, to the best players in the world, I don't think you're surprised in terms of quality. But like I just mentioned as well, many young players joined this year as well. And there are a few that surprised me, in a positive way, of course. But if your next question would be who they are, then you're not going to get the answer. Does Tony know anything about football now? I think they like this joke.
Still that 11 players, obviously off the back of the Euros and the Copa America. Will you get a few of those players back over the course of this trip, and if so, who and when?
Jago is arriving today, I think. So we will have his testing day tomorrow, and the day after he will join us in a session. And I think it's Ibu and Ryan that will join us later in the trip. And I don't think I forget anyone, and the rest will start after the trip when we're back in Liverpool.
How about Alisson Becker?
I think he will start also in Liverpool, when we're back in Liverpool.
And just on the topic of transfers, in terms, obviously most clubs in the Premier League have strengthened already. Liverpool are one of the few that haven't. Is that more because of you wanting time to fully assess what you've inherited, or is it more the case that targets aren't available? What is the main reason? The
first one is one of the reasons, which you just said. So me wanting to assess, is that the right word, the squad? Which is difficult because most of them are still not here. And the second one also has to do with the difficulty of, if you inherited a team that's really good, then it's not so easy to find players that are of the same standards or even higher, especially because those ones need to be available then as well. But like I said, Richard, more than me, is really working hard on that as well, and he keeps me updated every time. And if there's any news on that, we will come to you. But like I said, we already have a very good team, where I am already really happy with, but it would be a surprise for all of us, I think, if we don't bring any player in. So that will probably happen in the end, but for now, we're just waiting for the players to come back and waiting for the right ones to shine.
Just in terms of Andy Robertson, he wasn't involved in the game against Preston last week. Is he fully fit now, or are you still having to manage him off the back of the Euros?
He's not fully fit yet, but we're expecting him in the end of the tour, maybe just after the tour, to be fully fit again. So he took a small injury into the Euros, and afterwards he had to recover from that after playing those games. But we will expect him back after our tour. But he joined us over here.
Yeah, what is the problem?
I think that's a medical issue, and that's something we don't share.
So you wouldn't expect him to play any part in the 3 games?
No.
With transfers, would you say that from what you've seen so far, the current squad is good enough to challenge for the goals that you've set for the upcoming season, and therefore new additions would be a bonus to the squad, or do you think that they're needed?
I think the answer lies in last season, where I think 5, 6, 7 games before the end they were still competing with Arsenal and City. So there you have your answer. They are good enough to compete.
And you obviously, since we last spoke to you, brought in 2 coaches, John Heitinger and Aaron Briggs. What do they bring to your team?
Premier League experience. Both of them have worked in the Premier League. John more recent than Aaron, and both of them, of course, have their own role in our staff. So I think I said before that Aaron is also the one who's going to bridge the gap between the youth academy and the first team. He has an analyst background, so that's a positive thing. And John has played many games in the Premier League, and last season he was an assistant coach, that's the way you call it over here as well, at West Ham. So brings experience as a player, but also as an assistant in this league. And he worked with someone that I know really well, and the two of us have quite a similar playing style, so I think it's not going to take long for him to understand exactly what we want with the players.
And then the other week you mentioned that you've spoken to Darwin Núñez on the phone. Have you been in contact with the players that are not here yet, or is it important for you to give them a bit of space to enjoy their holidays?
Both. So I called them after they went out of every tournament, and we had a conversation about how the tournament went, how last season went, and what we expect from them the upcoming season, in combination with the amount of days they have off. And some of them I've spoken a bit more recently, and some of them they are just enjoying their holidays. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to ask you, in accepting this job, how much you thought about the challenge of replacing someone and as successful and popular as Klopp. How much of the decision to come and take this job did you factor in that particular challenge?
I think if you go to one of the biggest clubs in the world, there's always pressure. So, and I've already explained in Liverpool that you can look at it 2 ways. You can be afraid for his legacy, but you can also look at the fact that he left behind a team that can win things. And I've won a few trophies as well at Feyenoord, and I'm hoping that I can do the same over here as well. And that's the aim we've got, and that's my aim as well.
My question is, how do you prepare for Real Betis? Or as a preseason game, are you more focused on preparing your own club for the upcoming Premier League season?
I think it's a bit of both, but it's mostly preparing our own team. But I think part of preparing your own team is also preparing them for what they can expect tomorrow. So what kind of press the opponent gives, and how we then want to play out from the back, how they want to do build up, and how we have to press them. So it's a bit of both. I think till now we've worked mainly on our own ideas, and tomorrow we will have a meeting where I'm going to share with them what they can expect from Betis.